Shout out to the playback. Caught an interview. Xander Zayas. He interviewed with a YouTube channel. It's called Tobin. Some Caucasian male did an interview and asked him some questions. A lot of us know Xander Zayas at 23 years old is sitting as a middleweight champion. I mean, a unified champion at a super welterweight, 154 pounds. And I was thinking, because, he was in the Super Bowl halftime show. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, how many professional boxers have participated in the Super Bowl? Is he the only one? So that came to my mind. But interesting, at 23, having a whole country supporting you, a lot of people just coming out of nowhere to rally and support this guy just because of where he's from, because of his success recently. And Puerto Rico is really, really backing him. He was talking about in his interview how he's been back and forth to Puerto Rico, and you know, from Puerto Rico to San Francisco to back to Puerto Rico to back to the States doing interviews. And this guy has a lot on his shoulders at a young age. And it makes me think about a lot of the great boxers we've seen that accomplished a lot at a young age, and how much pressure, fame, and attention that they were able to acquire, and the pressures of staying there, staying at the top, because he's at the top right now. He's like at the top of his game. He got, you know, multiple options, multiple big paydays. He's saying he's coming back in the summer. No opponent announced yet, but with two belts on the line, you know, I'm sure it's gonna be either possibly another unification bout, or maybe with Kelly, or some big name, and it's gonna attract a lot of attention. You know, I'm not into a lot of the music, like the Puerto Rican Hispanic music and nothing like that. But this Bad Bunny person, that's already a plug. He could be walked out by Bad Bunny in his next fight. We don't know. So this guy pretty much has the world at his feet right now, where it's on him. It's really up to Xander Zayas to, take his career into his own hands. And you know what I noticed, man? Like I tend to grade certain athletes, not just what they do in a boxing ring, but when they're in the interviews, and certain things I look at, characteristics, and seeing that, because some people, look, there's some boxers that can acquire fan bases based off nationality and how they box. And then there's other ones that can acquire fans based off their personality, how they carry themselves, how they articulate, professionalism. I think he has that. Xander Zayas has the ability to command the interviews in a professional manner, because I've seen, certain people, they might be spectacular athletes, and in interviews they you know they like jerks, and they sound like assholes, or they always want to give themselves credit. All they want to do is talk about me, 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 me. Like I said before, you know, 10-time world champ, 50 different weight classes. Like I said, they just be going too far. Some of these athletes we've seen when they got the spotlight on them. But this guy is humble in the sense that he realized the hard work. He talked about how they were approaching him to do the Super Bowl performance. This is before his fight with Abbas Barral for the unification. And he said, hey, man, I got to focus on this fight because, you know, I don't want to be a loser performing at the Super Bowl. So I want to make sure I win this fight. And then Y'all pull back up on me with this halftime performance situation. You know, so with having these offers and these different, celebrity figures approaching you while having a heavy, dangerous task in front of you, a difficult task in front of you, that says a lot to this young man being 23, having the maturity and the discipline, you know, to be able to lock in, stay focused, and get the job done, and then worry about the plan and stuff later. Especially at 23, a lot of people is just playing. They want to party and play and don't really want to put in the work and and make certain sacrifices. They want to just, hang out, party, and that's gonna be the test. Once you start getting these celebrity figures, trying to hang out with you, hey man, come on, come hang with us. Yeah, you making money now, but are you making Bad Bunny kind of money? You know, you're gonna be the pressures of, oh, okay, man, I gotta buy this because I'm hanging out with him. I gotta get this car, I gotta get this chain. I just hope you don't get, you know, pulled into that trap. You know, he got a long career, and it's just amazing how the sport of boxing that you could be a nobody, you know, but you could be from the same country as somebody who is a somebody, and you become world champ, and now all of a sudden they want to hang with you. You know, Bad Bunny and all these. He talked about Ricky Martin showed up to his, been trying to, reach out to him or whatnot. So you got these celebrity Puerto Ricans that have already been established and who already got big fan bases. Now they trying to hang out with you. So just by default, becoming a world champ in Puerto Rico, he was able to just inherit hella fan bases, man, from other walks of life. People who are fans of music, you know, of music stars in Puerto Rico, people who are, you know what I mean? So it's like this guy's in a very, very, pivotal position to go to a whole nother level. And he already got big names in boxing calling him out, you know. So, I mean, shout out to him, man. He has major options. I don't know right now as far as, being 23, where they rate him as far as some of the best Puerto Rican fighters, in the 20s or whatnot, but he's doing a damn good job to me. And it looked like he focused, you know. Sometimes it's great to just see certain interviews where the champ ain't out here dropping the F bomb every 2 seconds, the N bomb every 3 seconds, you know, and just being classy, He ain't like T.O. Acting like a homosexual in press conferences. He not doing goofy antics and shit. I like the fact that Xander Zayas is just being himself. As of right now, he's just being himself. Now, if he dye his hair blonde or something tomorrow, then I'm going to question it. That's when you start seeing different personality traits like Contraband and other people we're not going to name. You know, dudes change up. But I like what I'm seeing with Xander Zayas. You know, looking at his record, with 20, 23-0 with 13 knockouts, you know, he's just yeah, man, 23 years old, 23 wins, perfect record. So yeah, man, I just hope that he got the right people around him, you know? Keep the right people around him because we know how this sport is, man. This sport destroys a lot of people, man. They get a whole heart and body and soul to the sport, and a lot of times they get devoured by the sport, and they end up with nothing at the end of it. Hopefully, he's making some smart investments, with his money, and they talked about how he dropped out of high school and stuff like that early to pursue his dream, and his dream came true. He wanted to be a world champ. School ain't for everybody. So he did what he was supposed to do. I'm glad that he didn't drop out and go to the streets and do some dumb shit, cartel or whatever, whatever they're doing out there. So the mere fact that he dropped out of school and then pursued his dreams and accomplished it, that's a great story, man. It's a good thing. Some people just dropping out and are fuck ups. They the ones breaking in y'all cars and the one these on that's on these apps that you gotta watch out for in y'all neighborhoods and shit. So I'm glad that this guy is doing something with his life, because at that age, it's hella influences to get you off track. So, he's saying that he gonna be back in the summer. All these interviews and running around from Puerto Rico back to the States. He's saying that's about to, slow down here shortly, and the wheels is about to get back turning as far as preparing for the next op. And when we talk about what he do in that boxing ring, is no question that man is the truth. He's the truth, man. I've seen the versatility, been able to stay in the inside and trade. I've seen him be able to use his legs, box on the outside, use his range, and box smart, which I like that as well, because this is the sport of boxing, not the sport of knockouts. So he understands the sweet science. He displays it very, very well. He carries himself very, very well. And he represents Puerto Rico very, very well and represents the sport very, very well. And so far, I haven't seen him duck. I don't see him ducking. I don't see him, spending more time on social media and, trying to be the Twitter god or whatever they trying to do out here, man. X god. Just handle your business, man. Stay focused. And like I say, man, hopefully he's doing some smart things with his money. Because at that age, man, we've seen guys, man, like Tyson and, these little guys, man, Tanks and these guys, they get their money and then they go crazy. They go crazy and get off track. And I don't want to see that for Xander Zayas, man. I ain't even Puerto Rican, but I don't want to see him fail. Too many youngins, YNs or whatever, they get the bag and they go outside, man. So he's still humble. He's still hungry. He's the unified champ of the world at super welterweight. And he's on to the next, man. And I'm on to the next too, man. Thank y'all for pulling up. For the ones that caught the playback, I am the Black Horseman. Shout out to the UGC. I'm out.